Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to take a closer look at what are called perfect square trinomials. So let's first talk about why they're called what they are. Notice that on the right hand side for both of these formulas we've got trinomials because we've got 1, 2, 3 terms in each, and that's what makes it a trinomial. And our goal is to take something that looks like this and write it as a perfect square. We're writing it as something all squared. In either case, that's what we're doing. So now let's just jump right into some examples. First, example 1. We can see that we have something squared here and something squared here. So that's a good start. And the something that gets squared here is just x. And for the right term, for 100, that would be 10 squared. So notice we haven't really done much other than just rewrite how it already looks. And now in between, for the plus 20x, what we would like is we would like it to look like plus 2 times a times b. So I'll write plus 2 times a, I'm going to put in some blanks, times b. Maybe I'll scooch this over a smidge. Plus 10 squared. Okay. Now, our labeling so far is somewhat suggestive. We've said, basically, we've said that A, capital A, is equal to x. And we've said that capital B is 10. And now what's really, all we have left to check is that our middle term, since we've got our two squares, we just have to check that our middle term is going to be 2 times a times b. Let's go ahead and just calculate 2 times a times b off to the side. 2 times a times b. So 2 times a times b is 2 times x times 10. So 2 times x times 10. Notice that if we multiply that all together, we end up getting 20x. That's exactly what we have in our original problem, so that's perfect. That does mean that this is a perfect square trinomial. So I'm going to write x, and I'm going to write 10. There. So now, since we're perfectly in the situation in our first equation, our first formula up here on the right-hand side, notice this right-hand side looks exactly like what we have down here. So, because we have equality, because that right-hand side equals that left-hand side, we can now just express it as it looks on the left. So we can write it as a plus b quantity squared. So remember, a is just x. Oops. Got our plus sign in between. And b is just 10. So we've got a plus b quantity squared as our final answer, or x plus 10 quantity squared as our final answer there. So now let's look at a slightly more complicated example. We'll start off in a similar fashion. I'll just say that this is the same thing as 5x squared. If you square 5x, you do get 25x squared. And similarly, 9y squared is the same thing as 3y quantity squared, like this. So that's the first step. That means that we have a is equal to 5x, and it means we have b is equal to 3y. And again, we're just going to check. Because we have a plus sign here, we know it's this first formula. We didn't really use the second formula at all in this video, but that's okay. So we're using that first formula, and we're going to check that 2 times a times b is 30xy. Let's do that. 2 times a times b. 2 times a times b is 2 times 5x times 3y. All right, so if we multiply all those together, 2 times 5 times 3 is 30, and then of course we've got x times y is just xy. So this does check out. This is exactly what we had originally. So what I'll do is I'll just write plus 2, let's fill in those. We've got 5x, and we've got 3y. We can see that this is identical to what we have above on the right hand side. We've got something squared plus 2 times that same something times the other thing squared plus b squared. So a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So we're exactly in that same situation again, so we can just write it as it is on the left hand side, which gives us, remember, it's something squared, and it's just going to be a plus b. 5x plus b, which is 3y. So that's how we factor perfect squared trinomials using our knowledge of the two formulas given above. I hope that this video was helpful, and I will see you all in a future video.